Hey guys, I'm back for the post live session, mentoring session. I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with the analysis for today. Just a couple of things here to update. Okay. There. All right, looks like we are good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys over here. All right, so I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in, and then we'll take a look at our agenda for today. So let's see. Hey Nick, long time no see, right? It's been forever. All right, so let's see. I'll get a few more moments, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I got a couple things here to cover, not too much stuff, but a good amount, I think enough to cover what we need here for the session. So let me mute everybody. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no, definitely, Nick. Super solid day. I'm super tempted to open up more Apex accounts at this point, but we'll see. I don't want to rush it. It's all gonna come with time. All right, got about 20 people here. I'm not sure how many people are planning on attending, but so let's see. I forgot who passed here, but big congrats to Josh here. So Josh just got funded on his FTMO off the PRB entry. He's been like holding on to this account for a while. He took the PRB entry today, passed his challenge. He's now funded with FTMO. So Josh is one of our members here. He was kind of like in limbo for a while. He took the PRB entries the past couple of days and just passed his FTMO. So nice work right there. Oh, I know. Like immediately right after I got off, right, Casey, I just saw it right now. There's a V1 pattern right here, rejected directly off this point, buy signal, breakout V3 continuation, like literally as soon as I got off. Right there. It's all good. I didn't catch it, but if anybody else caught it, would have been a nice trade right there. Yes, that was Brett. So that right there was an entry that we literally just missed. I think we literally just got off the live and then it came up. So I didn't see the buy signal there when we got off. 7:45. So it looks like it literally just came up right as soon as we got off it. It always happens. Lately, a lot of these other entries have been happening. They've been happening after. Well, not after, but like late in the session, which I don't really like because the volatility is so low. You can see the ATR down here is currently at 14. But I mean, it played out fine. So if you guys took it, great work. If you guys didn't, that's completely fine too. I didn't take it, so it's not going to count as any official entry, of course. Only the ones that I take count as official entries. Yeah, it's all good. So Jeff said, hey, Sean, at 7:41, not a valid V1, right? So 7:41, yeah. So not a valid V1 because this, well, it's a V1 pattern and it's a V1 entry. So if you're just applying the V1 variation by itself with no confluence, it would be a valid entry because there was a pending buy signal here. So if we just replay that point right there. So there was an entry there. The only thing is that it doesn't meet my criteria with the previous V1 pattern. So it's not with confluence, but it is a V1 pattern. There was a double body rejection right there, pending bias signal. If you wanted to just take this as a normal V1 variation with no confluence, you could have taken it. Not one I'd recommend, but if you wanted to take it, that'd still be a V1 pattern there. And of course, it played through. So that played through, and then there was a breakout V3 continuation right here that also played through right after, which happened immediately as soon as we got off the live session, which again is all good. All right, so let's just go over entries and review of like the chart from yesterday and the questions that we have here. So Maria wants me to cover PRB on February 1. All right, so let's get a few more moments, guys. Looks like people are still joining in. But okay, so I'll just go over the agenda for today. So I'll just list everything here. Man, I don't know what's up with this for my text button for some reason just never works. Okay, so I'll just put up today's agenda. If there's anything else that you guys want me to cover, feel free to add to the list. But as people keep joining in, I'll just mark up the agenda right here. So let's just start off with first today's entries. I don't think there was any missed entries or any entries that weren't taken. So entries from today. We'll do everything in order. So like there's some sort of structure here. Yesterday's entries. Eunice's question. And Maria PRB February 1st. So I think this is all that I have for today. And then also I'll just cover this first too. Let's cover this real quick. I don't think this is going to be a problem anymore, but I'll just show you guys my withdrawal process because Madhu he said he just emailed them to update his. So Apex payout personal to business. I'll just tell you guys what I'm doing here, but Madhu, he just emailed Apex and they just changed it for him in the system, which I'm probably going to do too. It's just easier that way. So, and then Kevin said, after you go over the official trades today, can you look at this entry from yesterday? Yeah, no, definitely. And then we'll add review Kevin's Zoom entry. All right, so I think we pretty much have everything here. These are pretty much all the topics we'll cover for the day, guys. If there's any questions or anything else that you want me to cover, just put your questions in the Zoom and then I'll add it to the list here. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. I want to make sure that you guys are ready for, whatever's to come. So, all right. So with the first topic, Apex payouts from personal to business. So there's a weird structure. Well, I mean, when you sign up for Apex, they kind of make you sign up as an LLC to sign up with the account. But I just found out today that Madhu was able to email them and just update it on their end that way. So the way that I was doing it was that I signed up through my personal, but then with my payout options, what I did was I just put my business bank account. My business bank account is owned by me and only me. So the payouts would still go to my business. But since Madhu said that we can just email them, if you guys do want to use a business account, probably just email Apex and then have them change it on their end. And that's probably what I'm going to do too. Because it's the same thing. I'm not doing anything different. It's just I'm going to be changing my name to my business for the most part. Randy's asking, did you also sign under LLC name for FTMO and MT-based prop firms? Yeah, I did. Well, FTMO, yes, I did for sure. I'm thinking about TFF. Yeah, I did. Yeah, if I remember properly, I did sign up as LLC for all of them. It's just under the Kodi Kai name, basically, because I just have the payouts paid out to my business. Because the thing with like the tax situation is you don't really want to have much money under your name. I'm not a tax accountant, but if you're in business and you understand how money works and taxes work, you don't really want to have too much money under your name. You'd rather have it under the business and you pay yourself a salary and then you pay taxes on that. But you'd rather have majority of your funds under the business. So like you don't get like tax an arm and a leg, which is typically what happens with most people. So that's just the way that I do it. But yes, every account that I've had with any other funding company, it's always been through the business. And if it wasn't, then it would be through personal, but I would still deposit the funds to the business. And then I would just categorize it on my end through my QuickBooks. So it's not really difficult. There's just different ways around it. But that's just kind of how I do it. Medusa, did you guys take that trade or is it just marked up? Some took it. So like this was literally after I got off the live, Medu. I literally got off at like 6:45, I think, when this buy signal came up, because I don't remember seeing the buy signal here. As soon as I got off, the buy signal breakout V3 continuation, and then it shot through. So some people did catch it. I didn't take it myself, but some other people here did catch it. William said he hired a CPA to guide the process for his LLC. Easy to know. Easy, and I know everything is right. Yeah, exactly. So if you guys want to hire a CPA, that's also a good idea. I'm not a tax accountant, but I just know stuff from my own experience. So I'll just show you, I'll tell you guys what I'm doing, but again, don't take it as, actual advice. I'm just kind of showing you my process, but you definitely want to see with, a tax accountant or somebody that's qualified to answer those questions to give you the details. So, all right, we've covered that first question right there. Now let's go over today's entries. So for today's entries, let me just go over here. I'll just replay. Here, I'll just go to our breakout, our PRV chart first, because this is going to be a lot easier for us to just look at. So let's just go back over here. So here's the PRV entry, guys. I will go back to where it started. So market opened right here at 6:30. All right, so with today's entry, this is basically the only entry that we took. Looks like everybody took it with me. This is the PRV entry. So this is 6:30 right here. So market open at 6:30. And I'll kind of just explain my thought process. So you can see that price came down and then it wicked off the pivot, right? So this is kind of how I can see the retracement. It doesn't have to be a red candle. I just saw price come up. Like if you're watching this real time, like we did during the live session, you would have seen that. And if I just replay it one candle, you can see that price was up here and initially it came down first, right? It doesn't have to wick off the pivot, but it gives you a better visualization of like it actually rejected. So if I move this real quick, you can see how the candle was red first, it came down super hard, then it bounced off. That's the retracement that I was looking for. The trend here was bullish, so that's exactly what I was looking for. Trend was already bullish. I was just waiting for that retracement. Retracement came down, and then on this next candle right here, this is where space came up, because you can see how price kind of went sideways, right? Retracement, space right here for some consolidation. And then after we have the space right here, we're just looking for price to come back down again slightly and turn around, right? That's exactly what we were looking for. So price came back down right here. It didn't really turn around at this point because the candle was red. It was still coming down further. And then right here, I said during the live session, I said, if this candle closes green or if it has a big wick on bottom, this is going to be the entry because this is the retracement we're looking for, right? Retracement, space, retracement, entry. And that's where the entry came up. We all took the entry right there. Kind of went sideways for a bit and then blasted right through on that next candle. So there goes the official entry for today. That's one that we took. I think everybody took it and we locked in profit on that there. So that is what we locked in there. Going over here to our main chart, there was no other entries. There was only one other entry that came up today. So cutoff was 8 o'clock for entries. The only other entry that came up was right here. This was literally as soon as we got off the live session. So as soon as we got off the live session, there was a breakout V3 continuation setup that came up right here. So you can see there's a confluence here over here with the V1 pattern. This is a reversal pattern indicating that price is likely to push back up, right? So we had the reversal right here, and then we had the buy signal here with the green candle confirming continuation, right? After breakout V3 continuation. So this setup came up right here at 6:47. And then if you took the trade right there, this marked up and it went straight through. And that right there is the second entry for the day. And I think that was about it. 8 o'clock came around and there was nothing else from there. 8 o'clock is right here. There's no other V1 patterns, no other breakout V3 continuations. And that's pretty much it with today's entries. If there's any other questions regarding today's entries, let me know. Otherwise, we will move on to the next question or the next topic for today, which is yesterday's entries. Here, let me go down the chat real quick. Let me just answer all the questions before we move on to the next topic. We have another question here from Hawk. Hawk's asking, how to take liquidity. How do you place the liquidity markup trade? How to take liquidity. All right, so I'll show you how to mark and take liquidity. So we'll do that towards the end, Hawk. So we'll get to your question. We're going to go through these and I added yours to the list right here. Let me just answer one more question here from Maria. Maria's asking, does the copier on Apex website work well, or is it better to use Replicanto? So I use Replicanto because there's updates of Replicanto. It costs a little more, but you're going to get all the updates. So there was just an update that happened, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and there's a big update that happened a month ago. Whoever is using the Apex copier, they didn't get the updates. So, and Drew said he had some issues with Apex copier as well. So I would recommend using Replicanto because the Apex copier is just the Replicanto copier, but they just licensed it. So they don't get any updates from the actual creator. Replicanto is the creator. So you probably want to just go directly from the creator so that you guys can get updates and then you guys can have the actual app it's built for. So not necessary, but again, if you want, I'd recommend just going to Replicanto. Okay, question over here from Kenneth. Kenneth is asking, is it beneficial to get an LLC if we start profiting a lot? I was looking into making one when I have consistent profits. I mean, you should probably just do one now, Kenneth, because I think they waive the first year, so you don't even have to pay first year fees. I mean, you have to pay to create it, but you don't have to pay the first year fees. So yes, it's super beneficial because you can write everything off, right? So all your computers, all the computers you have, Kenneth, you can write all that stuff out basically free at this point. Because when you make profits from trading, you have to pay taxes on those profits, right? Instead of paying taxes on the profits, you just buy stuff for trading. You can buy a brand new computer, you can buy a new laptop, you can buy any office stuff that you need, anything that relates to your trading, right? All your subscriptions, your K2 subscription, that's free, written off. Your Apex accounts, that's free, written off. You just open 20 Apex accounts if you want, if you expect to do well. And, basically just write that stuff off. Buy monitors, buy iPad, buy whatever you want, really, that has to, if you're going to buy something and it's going to make you more money, you can pretty much write all that stuff off. So yes, it's super, super beneficial. You don't even have to be profiting a lot. You just have to be profiting to an extent, right? And if you're still working like a normal job, because I know a lot of you guys still work normal jobs, what you can do is when you write stuff off, that stuff flows to your personal. So say, for example, you made like 20,000. So say, for example, you made like 50,000 at your job, right? You got to pay like 20,000 in taxes or 15,000 in taxes. And then say, for example, you bought all this trading stuff, but you're not profitable with trading yet. So say you bought like 20,000 in trading stuff and subscriptions and all that stuff, and you still haven't made a profit trading. Well, guess what? Your taxes that you owe from your actual normal job, your W-2 job, you don't have to pay those taxes. So instead of them taking, so what will happen is when you get your paycheck from your regular job, you pay those taxes up front, right? So you pay those taxes up front and they take it out of your paycheck. When you get your refund at the end of the year, they're going to give you a check for 20,000. They're like, okay, you lost money, so here's your 20,000 back. You don't owe taxes. So you get it. It kind of makes sense to run it as a business because you can just write off a bunch of stuff. And then if you overpay in taxes, then they give you the money back. Like for example, like last year I had a crazy trading year, right? I made like so much money and then I paid a bunch in taxes up front. So I paid like self-employment tax and all this other stuff. And I just paid stuff up in front because I didn't want to get hit with anything like, any tax evasion or any stuff. I'd rather pay the taxes. I'm not going to go out like that with tax evasion. Of course, I'll pay taxes. So I pay up front. I think I paid like over 100,000 in taxes, but then they gave me back 40,000 because I had all these like extra stuff that I had to write off. So I got like tax refund like 40K. So yeah, or not actually, that wasn't this year. That was when I was still working as an attorney. So the last year that I got my attorney paycheck, which was years back, I basically all the money I paid in taxes, I got back as a refund check. So yeah, it's definitely beneficial to have it as an LLC. You don't even have to be profitable. I mean, if you're a break-even trader, you still get to get the benefits of writing business expenses off. But there's levels to it. So you can start off with the sole proprietor, then you move to LLC, then you get to an LLC taxes S corp. That's usually the levels to it, right? When you're a sole proprietor, this is like all a hobby to you. You're not really planning on making money. You're like, whatever. You just want to write stuff off. When you start to make at least some profit, LLC, of course, and then when you start to make more than like 75,000 a year, then you tax as an S corp because then you can pay yourself a salary. You're basically your own boss at that point because you own the company and then you also pay yourself a salary. Like for me with my trading, I am the CEO of my trading or whatever I'm doing here. And I pay myself like 100,000 in salary. So I pay that, I pay taxes on it. And then I also get the benefits of getting a distribution at the end of the year. So say, for example, I get my salary of like 100,000. And then at the end of the year, if say I make like 1 million, right? I get a distribution. So I get my salary plus I get a distribution on top. So, there's levels to it. But yeah, LLC is the best starting point for you. I mean, if you're in this for the long run, you're going to be profitable. So there's no point in waiting to start the LLC. If you're still on the fence and you're like, oh, I don't know about trading, which I'm pretty sure you're not, Kenneth. You've been here for a while. If you're still on the fence and you're like, oh, I don't know if trading's for me, then definitely don't do it. But if you're like, oh, I'm going to be trading for like the rest of the year and I'm going to be trading for the next year and the year after that, then yeah, you might as well turn it into a business at that point. So that's it with that question right there. If there's anything else that you want to follow up, Kenneth, just let me know. Or if anybody has any questions regarding that. But yes, I definitely do think if you're taking trading seriously, you should definitely treat it like a business. Let's see, Nikki's asking, would the doji candle have to be opposite? Yeah, no, so it doesn't. So the question there, so Nikki's asking, would the doji candle for the PRB have to be opposite, or if it has to just provide some sort of space? It doesn't have to be opposite. You can see every space candle is slightly different. Like the one from the day before yesterday, it was like a pretty perfect doji. And then the one before that, it was just like a big wick, but a big doji. So this right here, I mean, it doesn't have to be a doji. It can just be, you just want to see wicks on both sides, basically. You want to see uncertainty. So I just call it a doji because that's what it looks like. But realistically, you're looking for price to push away on both ends, right? You want price to kind of push away from the top end, price to push away from the bottom end, just to show that there's some space, like there's some consolidation going there and uncertainty. Because whenever you have this is usually setting up for either a reversal or continuation, or in better case, a fake out, right? So price came up right here. You got the doji, you got the fake out down here, and it came right back up. That's exactly what we were looking for. We were actually looking for the fake out. We didn't care for retracement or continuation. We wanted price to fake out. So price right here gave the doji, or whatever we want to call it, space, came back down. And then right here was the fake out. That's where we made our entry for the correction back to the upside. So does that make sense, Nikki? Because you don't really need a doji. It's just you're looking for the gap in, I guess some people call this an imbalance or something like that, or there's different names for it. But yeah, we'll go over yesterday's entry so I can show you that nothing came up there. But yeah, that's pretty much what the setup would look like. But it's not always going to be clean like this. So that's why it's important that you guys review the live session. So if you guys have any free time, I would recommend just going back every day and watch the live session between like when the entry comes up. Just look at how I analyze it because it's going to be different every day. but it's going to be very similar. The more and more that you see it, the pattern is going to be more and more obvious. So you're going to see these space patterns and you're going to be like, oh, that's super simple. Like, why didn't I see that before? Because now you know what to focus on when it comes up. So, all right, that's it with that question there. Lucas is asking if there's a criteria checklist. No, there isn't. Not for the PRB. It's a discretionary strategy and it's always changing. Well, it's not always changing, but you're not going to find an exact candle every time, just like I explained right here. So I can't give you like specific criteria for it. The main thing that you're looking for, it's the same pattern, but there's no specific criteria for it. So you're looking for price to kind of go in the direction of the trend, look for the retracement, but the retracement can happen anywhere. It doesn't just happen. Like, for example, if you're looking for a criteria and I said a retracement, you'd probably identify this as a retracement, right? So you'd be too late. Retracement actually already happened on this candle right here. So you're looking for price. Well, I guess the base criteria is looking for the trend. So first you want to look for the trend, which you already had here on open. You want to look for price to retrace down slightly, which you did right here on the opening candle. You'd have to be watching the opening candle to know that it actually retraced. And then you want to look for some sort of consolidation, which is like right here, which we call space. And then you want to look for a retracement back to not the levels, but you just want to look for a retracement back down and then look for price to turn around from there. So price retraced right here, and you can see it bounced off the pivots again. This is not a criteria, but it did bounce off the pivots. And when it bounced off the pivots here, this is where the turnaround happened, because retracement, consolidation, retracement, turn back around right here, and that's where the entry came up. So my explanation probably just went right over your head, Lucas, because like I said, there's no criteria for it. You have to understand what you're looking for. It's like pure price action. And then on top of that, we're using other confluences, right? The buy signal right here also gives you confluence that price is likely to go to the upside. So you got the confluence with the trend for the pivots. You have the confluence with the trend from the trend meter. You have the confluence from the momentum signal right here. And then once you have those confluences, you know price is going to go back up. You just have to look for the pattern. So the pattern happened right here. Price pushed up, retraced, consolidation space, came back to the retracement. You guys can see this candle push right off this. And again, you'd have to watch this live, because during the live session, you can see how price came down. It was a big red candle. And I said that when price was down here, I said, all right, guys, if this closes green or if we have a huge wick, that's where our entry is going to be. And that's exactly what happened. This candle right here had a huge wick, and we entered immediately on this candle close right here. And that's why we take that as a PRB. So yeah, Lucas, what I'd recommend, and to everybody else here, if you want to get better at the PRB, just review every live session for like the past 2 weeks in the first couple minutes, because that's when the PRB came up. And you can just see how I analyzed it. It's going to be the same pattern every day. You're looking for retracement, continuation. That's like literally all you're looking for, but it's not always going to be clean. So, all right, other than that, I think that's it for this here. Drew, no, so Nick, Drew didn't lose his accounts today. He just said he was using the Apex copier, and that's when he lost his accounts. So not today. I think Drew actually passed accounts today, or he got funded, or he just got trades on his funded accounts. But it's been a long time since Drew's blown any accounts. That was a long time ago. I remember that day. I think that was that Halloween? You were like drug trading, hungover trading, or something like that. Yeah, I remember that day. Yeah, exactly, Lucas. Just identify the trend using the pivots, look for the retracement, the consolidation, and cash momentum. Yeah, exactly. You're just looking for the turnaround. So you can make your own checklist. It's just there's going to be different things that you look at, because the market's always going to be slightly different. The candles aren't always going to be clean. But you got the basic gist of it, Lucas. That's pretty much what it is. All right, so we're done with that for today. So let's see, we covered the Apex payout. We covered today's entries. We covered the entries from today. Now we'll cover yesterday's entries. So let's pull up yesterday's chart. Let me just copy this. I'll bring this back over. So let's go to yesterday's chart over here. We're going to refresh back to 8 o'clock. And Lucas said, most importantly, listen and pay attention to Sean's analysis. Yeah, because my analysis pretty much gives you all the secrets. Like if you just listen to what I'm looking for, you can really make your own strategy out of like my analysis. You just got to look for different criteria. So, all right, guys. here is yesterday's market. So let's turn on 6:30. Okay, let me go back over here real quick. All right, so let's go to 6:30 real quick. So market opened right here at 6:30. The trend here was bullish, right? So you're looking for a buy here for the PRB. So the trend stays bullish. It's still bullish right there. We don't really get that retracement. Price pushes up super heavy right here. We get the retracement here, but it's not really a retracement. So here's the thing. Price is bullish here, it pushed up. This could have been space right here, but it wasn't space because there was no retracement yet, right? These candles have been bullish all the way. So there's no retracement. This can't be considered space. Price still hasn't retraced down yet. Okay, price starts to finally retrace down right here, but there's no space, right? Price just keeps pushing around. Right here, price came up, came back down. There's no rejection points at this point, right? Price is still coming down right here, and there just was no rejection points. The cutoff for this trade would be 7 o'clock right here. Sorry, 7 o'clock, which is right here. And you can see between 6:30 and 7, there were no entries for the PRB. Price pushed up right here, but there was just really no retracement until it came down right here at 6:47. But even when it came down, it just never retraced back up. It just kept climbing down, down, down. This again right here could have been maybe looked at as space, but not really space because it's not really a doji. There's a body on the bottom and a huge wick on top, right? There was never any consolidation phase right here. This green candle over here might have been considered space, but again, this retracement here didn't really, because so what happens here is, and if you compare this to today's entry, this could have been considered retracement, but the space would have to have happened up here, right? Because there had to be some push up from where it was. So price came up, came down. We also had a sell signal right here, so we didn't really have confluence with momentum. If the space happened over here and there was an entry at this point, this would have been better because there was a buy signal. We had confluence at that point. Right here, price came down, and it never really gave the rejection and space before it swung up. It just kept falling down from this point. So at this point right here, there were just no entries available for the PRB. So if there's any questions regarding this, if you guys are confused with the entry, let me know. But for the most part, there's just no entry here. We would have waited for the retracement to happen somewhere around this area, but it just never retraced. It retraced at this point, but there was already a sell signal at that point, and momentum just wasn't there. So for the most part, there was no entry here. I know there's no live analysis because we didn't trade yesterday, but I was watching it from my phone, and I already knew once this came down right here and we had the sell signal, I was like, all right, there's not going to be an entry because it was already 6:50 at this time. I was like, there's not going to be an entry within 10 minutes within this period here unless like we had another buy signal. So no PRB entry yesterday. However, there were a couple other entries that came up. So let me just clean this up a little bit. There was one breakout V3 continuation that came up, which Drew took. It happened a little later in the session. I don't even know where it's at. Where did it go from? Let's see. Oh, it was right here. Sorry. It was right in the beginning. It was right off open. There we go. All right. So Drew over here actually caught this breakout V3 continuation. Yesterday, this is one of the official entries that came up aside from the PRB. I don't think anybody was really focusing on this because everyone was kind of focused on the PRB, but whoever was actually paying attention to this did catch it. So there was a breakout V3 continuation that came up right here. You guys can see that this previous low right here is a V1 pattern. It's a double wick rejection though. So this confirms that this is a reversal. So price came down, the trend was bullish. We had a reversal pattern right here and it just corrected right back up. Again, there's a buy signal that came up right here, and then following it was another green candle. So this right here was a breakout V3 continuation, and this is what Drew took. So Drew took this right here for 100 pips, and it blasted right through to his TP. So there goes one entry right there that came up. yesterday, one of the official entries, if you're applying the breakout V3 continuation with confluence. And it just kind of kept pushing through from there. Yeah, exactly. Cameron said that was a little too close for him, and he wanted the trend to confirm, which I would have done the same thing. For me personally, I think this would have been risky in my opinion because the candle was so big, and I would have maybe considered this overextended or just like kind of a crazy candle on open. But if you trust the strategy, you can just take it. Again, that's me. I'm just a very careful person. I'm very conservative. But if you trust the strategy and you like the strategy, then by all means take it. So this is what Drew took. That was one of the entries that came up yesterday. And then there was one other one that came up, which was a V1 variation with confluence. Let me see if I can find it over here. I think Maddie took this one. It was actually a pretty good entry. I didn't really identify it until it was right here, actually. I didn't really see it until I looked closer. Actually, I probably wouldn't have taken this trade here. I don't know if this was the one, but actually, no, this was the one, sorry. The trend had to be confirmed first. Okay, so the trend confirmed right here. The entry actually happened like literally right here, right next to it. Okay, so there's a V1 pattern right here, or I think there was a V1 pattern. I don't know, I might have gotten this wrong. Let me just go forward a little bit. 8 o'clock. No. Okay, I probably misidentified it, but there was a V1 pattern here. It was more of a V1 continuation. So I know market was kind of choppy yesterday, but if you look closely right here, there was so there's a V1 pattern right here. This is a double body rejection. This is the V1 pattern. Price came up, came back down. There's another double body right here. So basically a double bottom off this V1 structure. And this would have provided an opportunity for a possible V1 continuation. I wouldn't have taken it because there's no pending buy signal, but I think someone in the group took it. I'm not sure if it was Maddie or someone else, but someone in the group did take this trade. I believe it was Maddie. He took it as a continuation type entry. And then he wrote this up from there. And I think that was it. So, I mean, realistically, there was only one entry that came up. There's only one official entry, which was the breakout V3 continuation down here. But again, it was too close to entry. The candle was too big. And I think a lot of people would have skipped it. Also, I think everybody was paying attention to the PRV strategy that I don't think a lot of people even spotted this. But all right, guys, if there's any other questions regarding yesterday's entries, feel free to pop into the chat. If not, we're going to move forward. Next question is from Eunice on his Discord. We'll take a look at that. And then we'll look at the PRV from February 1st for Maria. And then we'll look at Kevin's Zoom entry as well. All right, so I think that's it for right now. Let's take a look at Eunice's question over here. All right, so Eunice said that he was asking. So let me just check the timestamp and I'll pull it up on mine. Oh yeah, so for this one right here, is this from today, Eunice? Let's see. This is from yesterday. Okay, so, it's great because we're already in this area. So just by looking at your screenshot right here, Eunice, I already know I wouldn't have taken it because of the trend. I mean, you can see the trend. There's no bearish trend, right? So let's just pull it up. Your entry right here came up. It's pretty close. And I think Eunice is here, right? Yeah, you're here, Eunice. Okay, so 2 lower highs. Yours is off this one right here. All right, so this is the entry that Eunice was looking for. The main reason I wouldn't have taken this entry for the V1 variation, Eunice, is because of the trend. So the trend here has not confirmed yet, right? You want to make sure that the red pivot is above all the other pivots. You want to make sure level 4 is either below. So when the level 4 is below all the other pivots, it's bullish. When the level 4 pivot is above it, then you know that price is bearish. But if you look a little closer here, you can see that it's not, right? So if I just, let me see if I can hide these candles. I forgot how I did that before, but yeah, whatever. I mean, you could tell here if you zoom in a little bit, the red pivot's like in between. So the main thing right here that already stood out to me why I wouldn't take the trade is that there was no bearish trend that was confirmed. For me, I like to confirm that the trend is like super obvious. However, you were on the right track. So looking at this right here, we had a previous V1 pattern that was a double body rejection. And then you had another one right here, which is another double body rejection, right? So you had your double top right there. The only problem is that the trend wasn't confirmed. So if the trend was confirmed, then yes, I would take the trade. If this red pivot was like up here, then yeah, I would have taken it. And it looks like if you would have taken the trade here, I mean, it looks like it probably would have played out, but it was really, really close because there was no push behind it. So there's a setup right there for a V1 variation with confluence, but no trend. And I think price does come down. So it comes down really tightly. And I think you might have gotten caught right there, right? The spread was probably too tight and you ended up getting caught and it reversed on you. So yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it would have been good if there was a trend, but since there was no trend, that's the main thing that I would have got caught. Yeah, so it says that Eunice mentioned that it hit his TP, but trader weight didn't close, so he ended up hitting a stop loss. Yeah, I think it was just a little too close. Your entry probably like got in a little late. So I think maybe as this candle closed, you probably got in for bad entry, or when you got in for your entry point, and then you probably just missed it by like maybe a point because it was super close right here, Eunice. It looks like if you were off by like just 1 point, you would have gotten caught in the trade. So if I just measure 1 point here, like 1 point is not very, but even by a split point right there, you would have gotten caught. So that's why for me too, guys, when I'm watching my trades or when I take the trade, I'm still like watching to exit it manually. So if I'm off by like a point and it hits TP on TradingView, I'm like already ready to close it out because something like this could happen, especially if there's slippage. I wasn't trading yesterday, but yeah, I don't know. It probably just didn't get close enough because it got like, it's like literally on the dot right here, Eunice. So you might have been one of the orders that like, I've seen it happen with people before where they've taken trades at the same exact point. Some people get caught in the position, some people don't. Yeah, it happens, Eunice. Sometimes you're just like the last person. Like sometimes there's probably like a bunch of people who are trying to exit right here, and you're like one of the people who just didn't get their order filled. That's why I typically just watch it and I just click close. Like today, for example, I try to click close when it hit my TP, but it already hit my TP. So it ended up closing me out already anyways. Yeah, Maria says the pivots are too close in this trade. Yeah, I agree. It's all good, Eunice. You learn from it. Just in the future, just try to make sure that you avoid it when the trend is not confirmed yet. But yeah, sometimes you can't control stuff that happens with brokers, which is unfortunate, but it's all good. I'm glad you made it back today, though, with the PRB entry. Sure, no problem, Eunice. All right, the next question is from Maria. Maria's asking about the PRB from February 1st. Let me just copy this real quick. Let's clean the chart up. Let's go back to February 1st. February 1st, Thursday. All right, let's see. So the PRB entry happened 6:30. All right, so we didn't start looking for entry until here. All right, Maria, so let's go back over here to 6:30. We'll just play it through like it was just happening. So this is the PRB entry from February 1st, last Thursday. So currently right here, we have a bearish trend, right? The reason why we have a bearish trend is because the level 4 pivot is above all the other pivots. So we're probably going to be looking for some sells here on open. However, the trend here starts to shift, right? So the trend here starts to shift, and what you're looking for, first step is to identify the trend using the pivots. So in order for you to identify that, you need this red level 4 pivot to be below all the other pivots, right? So right here, I don't really care. I'm not looking at anything until I have that confirmation. All right, at this point right here, I have the confirmation, right? Now, if you zoom in a little bit, you can see the red pivot is below all the other pivots. So once we have that confirmation of trend, this is where the game starts to play. This is where, where the fun happens. So at this point, you can see how price comes down and it kind of rejects off the pivot. This is the retracement that we were looking for. So price rejects off the pivot right there. It also rejects off the pivot right here. So you have two confirmations over here, right? You have the trend over here, which is now bullish. You have this retracement and it retraces down further. You're basically looking for price to push back up. So you see how price comes back down. At this point right here, it pushes back up. So at this point, you have a big wick on the bottom. This is probably going to be considered a retracement. Either way, either of these can be a retracement. But for the most part, this is probably going to be a retracement because this doesn't really push up. This pushes down, but it doesn't push up. You have the wick on the bottom, which is really small. This wick on the bottom is big. So you have a buy signal, bullish trend with the trend meter. You have price pushing off this pivot over here. Right, price is now pushing up. All right, wait, now that I'm looking at like how this moved, I think I would have considered this to be the space, right? Because now that I'm looking over here, earlier I would have considered this a retracement, but now that I'm looking at this here, you kind of have to tie two and two together. So you're looking for basically retracement and then space. Right here, there's no other space, unless you want to consider this space right here. But I'd probably at this point, like I would have maybe made some adjustments. I would have said, okay, this is probably the retracement. And then as this pushed up further, I see how these candles here are pushing up further away from the bottom, right? So initially I would have considered this a retracement, but now that I've seen this as the space, I'm like, okay, this is the retracement. And now this is the space. So if this is space here, and let me just pull up I'll go over my analysis and then we'll review the actual entry so that we can kind of compare and contrast. But you can see how the analysis kind of changes here a little bit because it's discretionary. So it depends on how you see it and how you identify it, right? Here's a retracement, space. This here is now what I would consider the entry now that I've seen the full picture. And this is where I would have taken my entry from, full TP. So let's take a look at the actual entry and let's see if this lined up. Because you guys can see that my analysis can change a little bit depending on what we're looking at. So let's go over here to the official trades from Thursday, February 1st. And yeah, so it's exactly how I just mentioned right there, Maria. So you can see how like my analysis kind of changes a little bit because you can see here that I now identify this as space instead of the retracement. So this is the markup, the actual screenshot from the entry. But I mean, either way, so depending on the person who's identifying the entry, either way, you can take it at different times. So for example, if you wanted to identify this as the retracement, you could still do that, right? So say, for example, person number two, not me, but person number two, they're like, okay, this is a retracement, this is not space. And they identify this as space. It's the same thing. You can see this is like a doji, wick on top, wick on bottom, same size. Same thing with this one. So depending if you consider this the space or this is space, either way, this next candle over here would have been your turnaround, right? And at your turnaround right there, either if you took the entry here or if you took it up here, doesn't really matter because you still would have hit your TP regardless. So you could still be a step behind and you can still hit your TP. But I always try to be a step ahead. So with me being a step ahead, my entry would have been a little earlier down here. And regardless of the fact, it still would have hit no matter what. If you would have taken it here, it would have hit. If you taken it up here, you still would have hit. So no big deal. But yeah, that's my analysis for that, Maria. If there's any other questions, feel free to pop into the chat. If not, then you're good. You just have to keep, it's just a repeated process. I feel like every day I do the PRB, I get better because I'm starting to see things differently. I'm still looking at the same things, but I'm looking at different aspects. So I'm able to adjust and adapt with the market super quickly, like I did right here. I almost misread this trade until I was able to just adapt with how the candles are moving. And I was able to see, okay, this was the actual entry, not this one over here. But either way, it still would have worked out with either of the setups there. Let's see, Kevin say you basically answered my question already. Let me just go up real quick, Kevin. Okay. So let's see, let's go back to your question over here, Kevin. So let's see, Kevin's question, and it looks like the same thing right here too. So let's see, Kevin said, after you go over the official strategies, I didn't enter because the sell signal on the double wick was invalid. Oh yeah. So for your markup right here, Kevin, was this for the PRB, or is this for a different? Oh, I actually answered that earlier. Yeah. So your question was for the breakout V3 continuation. Yeah, the one that Drew took. Yeah, so with your entry right there, it was passing the sessions, but for this entry, the entry candle was actually already past it. So this would have been an okay entry. The only difference with this that I would have been kind of worried about was this big candle. But all in all, it was an official entry because let's just go back to that. I'll just go back to that real quick. This is from yesterday. It's pretty easy to just pull up. Let's go to yesterday, which was Tuesday. And I'll turn on, or let's go to our clean chart actually. So you can see the red flags and stuff. So I'll just go over a quick explanation because it's technically a valid entry. The only thing is that I'm kind of chicken sometimes, right? I'm just scared of certain entries and I don't take them because they just look kind of trippy. But I mean, if you were just to follow the rules, which, sometimes it's hard to just follow the rules. Because realistically, there's no red flags here. The red flag was down here, but the entry was up here. So even if you were to mark up the entry here for the buy, your stop loss is still fine because it's not bigger than the candle, right? So, I mean, everything here lined up. B1 variation pattern right here for a double wick, buy signal, red flag is down here. This candle is big, but it's not too big. You can see that the stop loss is still bigger than the candle. So either way, it still would have played through and would have hit right there. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. It looks like we pretty much covered everything for today. Looking over here at the mentoring group, you guys posted so I'm glad to see a lot of you guys here are following and marking up your trades, whether they be trades that you took or trades that you lost. Here we go with Ross. He has all wins for Monday. Nice work, Ross, with your markup there. We got Hawk over here. Hawk kind of got into, he took the PRB on Tuesday. It didn't work out. He was testing the PRB after 8 a.m. Yeah, that's why we had that cutoff there, because that cutoff makes all the difference, right? But it's all good. You're learning from it. You've caught it right there, and you've identified your other entries. So nice work right there. Looks like you're profitable for the week so far, which is great. We have Song here. He has 2 entries for the day, just Monday and Wednesday. Took the breakout V3 continuation on Monday, and then he took the PRB today, full TPs. We got Johnny over here as well. Nice wins. And that looks good. I'm glad to see a lot of you guys here are documenting your trades. It's okay. This is the month to make mistakes. You can take your trades, mark them up, just as long as you put notes at the end so that you understand why you made the loss or you made the win. That's the key thing. If you just stick to the game plan, I'm sure you guys you'll find like a lot of success moving forward. So here's my spreadsheet too. I need to update mine. I'm only taking 1 trade today. So I took 1 trade today, which was on Wednesday, of course. This is the trade we took, of course, from today. So it was a buy entry. Mark that up real quick. So today is the 7th to 7/24. The entry came up at 6:44. And you can see a lot of these entries come up at the same time. It was for a buy entry win, 25 points. PRB. Full TP. So for the month so far, and all together with PRB entries, we have straight wins. So I currently have 4 wins, 2 buys, 2 sells for this month so far. No losses, 100 point profit. Total trades of 4 trades, 100% win-loss ratio. My profits for the day was about 15,000. Took 1 trade across 10 accounts, and they just copied over. So pretty great. Pretty great. We got Jeff over here. Total profit of 2,250 for the day off the PRB. Nice work, Jeff. All right, guys, and I think that is about it. So if there's any other questions, guys, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think we're good for the day. So we'll wrap this up for the day, guys. Tomorrow I'm going to be leaving for Arizona, so I'm going to try to get through this really quick. Let's just have questions lined up, or if there's no questions, we're just going to zoom through it. We're going to have a live session. I'm going to try to get off the live session as soon as possible, get on the mentoring session. knock out all the questions, and then I'm going to be flying out to Arizona tomorrow right after. So I got to catch my flight. I got to be done, and out. And then I'll bring my laptops with me, and we'll trade live while I'm in Arizona for vacation, where I'm there for a wedding, not really vacation. I'll be in Arizona for the weekend, so I'll be there trading with you guys on Friday, and then we'll come back, and I'll be back home by Sunday and back to normal schedule. So I'll try to knock everything out tomorrow. If I can't get on the mentoring session with you guys right away, I'll take my laptops to the airport, and then we'll try to get it going over there as well. But yeah, if there's any questions, guys, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session as we continue on with this trading week. So.